could start? Thank you so much. Shavua Tov. We continue to break open our hearts of stone and transform them into hearts of flesh. And learn and daven, and it should all be for the refuah shlema of Yakir Ephraim ben Rochel Dvorah. It should be a week of healing, new energies of healing coming down that the world never knew of before. Mamash hitchadshut. So I meant to have that name in mind really while we're learning Yakir Ephraim ben Rachel Dvorah. I want us to briefly, we have a few minutes, but since this coming parsha is our parsha, it's our parsha, I say all of us, it's Parshat Shlach. This is our parsha of holding on to Eretz Yisrael. I want to do as much as possible throughout the whole week, so that when we get to the parsha itself, it's mamash hitchazaktem, that we have so much chizuk and koach regarding Eretz Yisrael, regarding our grasping here in the Holy Land. So I want to do a very short piece today, and it's a very, very deep piece. It's from Rav Shlomo. And what we really need is just to really kind of zone out right now, like a noise cancellation. So come out of like a cancellation of all mamish distractions right now, and invite the following very threatening question into our being right now. Very uncomfortable question. When was the last time we gave up on something? And how fast did we give up on it? The last time we had something that we wanted, it didn't work, and we said, well, since it's not working, it must mean that it's not for me. Mashu kazeh, right? So we already saw, and we did an amazing exercise one time with the PSS, with the Bnei Machshava Tova, that why is it that we feel that if we take a medicine the first time and it doesn't work, the medicine probably doesn't work. Maybe it just means you have to take it again. That's why he gave us a lot of chizuk and said to us, listen, when you do stuff, when you take upon yourself whatever it is, and it's not immediately affecting your life and changing your life, it just means you have to keep on doing it. It doesn't mean it doesn't work. But what's the voice that comes and says to you, this doesn't work? This is not real. So you could put a lot of different names to that voice. One is called, what do you think? Yetzer hara. What else? For the Freudians in the room, what? Ego. What else? What other name can you give that voice that says, it's not working, it's not for me, or it's not, Suffolk. Atzlan, laziness. What's that? Yeah, despair. Yeah, giving up. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we know that, Eretz Yisrael is like a totally different trip than the way the rest of the world works. Why? Because nothing works here. Right? Nothing. Like, there's not one thing that you can say, like, I tried it and it works. Nothing. Not any bank, nothing. There's in school, there's nothing that works like, and it's like, and it's supposed to be like that, right? I gave up such a comfortable life to be here, and here nothing really works. So in our parsha, we see that nothing's changed. Nothing has changed. The question is, do you think things have to work? Or could it be that the reason they don't work is in order for you to try harder and try again? And when you have that shift in consciousness, the way you approach hardship or anything in life is a different ballgame. Because if I believe that everything I'm supposed to be doing is to try harder, is to figure out how to work it deeper, then the way that I approach anything difficult in my life is completely, completely different. So this is a very short piece of Torah from Rav Shlomo said in the House of Love and Prayer to the hippies that he was trying to de-drug a whole generation where things just worked because it felt good. He's trying to bring them into a world of like, listen, sometimes things don't feel good right away. I'm sorry, I didn't realize there'd be such a big crowd today. I don't have enough for everybody.
This generation.
The I generation, the instant generation.
Works because I say it's going to work.
Yeah. And if it doesn't, forget it, it's off.
It's effective.
Is there enough for Jerry? Praise God.
No, they need the product wrong.
Rabbeinu, do you have a page? You'll share. Tom and Jerry will share. I love it. I love it. You never noticed? Tom and Jerry are going to share. In a second, you're going to see like someone, stick a carrot in someone's ears.
Israel, right? You get Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry to sit together. That's Eretz Yisrael. You guys never lived in that consciousness when sitting next to each other? Tom and Jerry? No. It's fun. His son's name is Ben. He also has Ben and Jerry's. He has Tom and Jerry and Ben and Jerry. All right, L'chaim, good Purim. About 300 days till Purim, but who's counting? Okay, let's go. Again, I want to remind everyone that's learning Rav Shlomo for the first time. Sometimes it sounds like he's telling you like cute little sweet anecdotes or whatever. Everything he's saying right now is building up. He's saying something very simple to build up to a very deep lesson. Imagine I take upon myself to keep Shabbos and I'm working really hard on it, but it just doesn't go. So what happens to me then? There are two ways before me. I might end up hating myself and come to the conclusion that this is not for me. Or I make myself stronger and I say to myself, I gotta try again. If I try it and I end up being disappointed in myself, I'll end up dropping Shabbos altogether, since I cannot walk around hating myself. So I have to make an excuse saying, it is what it is, I'm just not up to Shabbos. But if I'm strong enough, I say, okay, take a deep breath. It didn't work for the first few times, but I'm going to try again. So, the Alexander Rebbe says that this is essentially the difference between Moshe Rabbeinu and the spies. Moshe Rabbeinu's anava was that in a very deep and holy way, he realized that he hasn't served God the way he should. This is Moshe Rabbeinu, okay? But he was a savlan about it. He could bear it, savlan, like he had the midah of savlanut. Even though he wasn't there yet, it didn't drive him. He really felt that he wasn't there yet. Like for him, he always felt that he wasn't keeping Shabbos yet, the equivalent of, I didn't do it right yet. But it didn't break him. His anava, his humility, manifested through the fact that he brought him to a place of, I'm going to do it better. I'm going to keep on doing things better. But when the ego comes in place, what ends up happening? The ego comes in place and it ends up saying, whatever. Drop the whole thing. It's not for me. Because that's a very interesting parish of anava, of humility. Humility doesn't mean the way we refer to humble. It means I know that I could do things better. I haven't done it yet, and I'm choosing not to hate myself over it. Rather, I know I'm going to keep on trying till I get this right. That's anava. It's one of the pirushim of anava, according to the Alexander Rebbe. The spies were very holy, but they were not on this level. For them, if they felt that they couldn't overcome that which they were working on, they understood that it's not for them. Here they're coming into Eretz Yisrael. They see it's a totally different story from that which they were used to. In the desert with Moshe Rabbeinu, we had no problems. Food was coming down from heaven. We had water from the well of Miriam. A cloud would come down every Friday afternoon, washing you clean. Your garments would grow with you. Everything was absolutely miraculous. When the spies came to Israel, they realized that Israel's a different story. In Israel, God wants you to plow your field. Food doesn't fall down from heaven. Mas Achnasa drives you crazy. Every single misrad you try to get an appointment with, it does nothing works. There's nothing that actually happens that works. You buy something, it's not what you bought. You end up always owing somebody money. Like that's a whole different way of living. But you see what it is. To feel high in Israel takes more than whatever you thought. Eretz Yisrael is a different kind of high, meaning the high of Chutz La'aretz is that I feel good because things just keep on working out. He's saying, if things kept on working out for you in Eretz Yisrael, you wouldn't feel high. You'd feel actually low. The way to feel high in the Holy Land is a different kind of high. It's the high of anava. It's the humble kind of high. And if this place humbles the daylights out of you, if Mamish humbles the daylights out of you, Tzvi, when are you moving back home? You ready for things not to work out? The question, you never left. You're on Shlichus. The question is, after you tried once and you couldn't do it, why don't you try again? That's the question of this Torah. What can you like on an exercise level, if we could tap into our inner consciousness right now and meditate upon the fact, check and see when the last time you gave up on something, and ask yourself, don't judge it like we did with Hashkata. Observe that thought, observe that decision that you had to give up on something. Don't judge yourself by it, but observe it. And ask yourself, like, what is the reason that you gave up so fast on something? What lies behind that belief that it was right to go into Yeush, or whatever you called it? You didn't call it Yeush. You called it not for me, right? There's a big difference between the two. He's going to explain this much better than I tried right now. The Alexander says that this stems from utmost arrogance. It's the biggest chutzpah in the world. What makes you think that if you tried and it didn't go, it means you can't do that, or that it cannot be done? Who are you? Try again. Now imagine a mathematical problem is placed in front of me and I really don't know anything about mathematics. So if I'm a mensch, I say, well, I don't know, maybe you can help me. But if I think I'm the greatest mathematician in the world and I can't solve it, so I would say that the equation placed before me is simply impossible. That's if I think I'm a chacham. So since the meraglim, look at the brilliance of Rav Shlomo. Look what he does with this. So since the meraglim knew that they were so great, they assumed that Israel is a country where you can't be high, because they know what being high is all about, right? They're coming with this preconceived notion of, I know how things work, and this doesn't seem like things are working. So therefore, it can't be done here. That's basically the report that they come back to the Yidden. They're basically saying, listen, we're exalted people. We're high people. We can't be ourselves in Eretz Yisrael. That's the logic behind where they're coming from. We're Gevalt, we're big neshamas. Look at us. Look what's happening to us in the desert. The way that we experience high here, it can't be there. They just didn't understand that the mochin of Eretz Yisrael is a completely different mochin. By the way, who knew? This is a crazy. I said this last week in one of the shiurim. Who did know what it's like to be high in Eretz Yisrael? And Hashem hoped that Moshe Rabbeinu would have chosen them to go and be their scouts.
I heard you said women.
The women. In fact, this is a crazy kli akar and the end of Parshat Baalotcha. If you want an extra dosage of Shalom Bayis, remember this vort and give it over when you get home. This is a good one. The kli akar says how.
The pocket
Huh?
In this case, you give us a pocket word. Usually, you don't.
Cash, right? This is usually I don't like cash Torahs. This one's like you might need to pull it out this week. Okay, I hope you don't need to, but if you do, this is a really good one. How in the world could Miriam and Aaron speak Lashon Hara about Moshe Rabbeinu? The only way to understand it on Shabbos, in Shul, we understood it backwards. We had to look at the previous thing with Eldad Umeidad. Now the Kli Yakar says, look at the next piece. What's the Smichut Parshiot? What's the Parsha after Miriam and Aaron speaking Lashon Hara? The meraglim, our Parsha. The Kli Yakar says like this. Listen to this Gevalt Torah. He says that Miriam and Aaron, what was the taina they had against Moshe Rabbeinu? Everyone knows. What was their problem? Why'd you leave your wife? How could you leave your wife? Why did they care why the tzaddik left his wife or not? Who are they to butt into the tzaddik's decisions in life? So the Kli Yakar says that when Moshe Rabbeinu asked Hashem to send, if we could send meraglim, so Hashem basically said to Moshe Rabbeinu, Shlach lecha, like leda'atcha, you choose to send whoever you think appropriate to send. But the Kli Yakar says, but if you would have asked me who to send, Hashem would have said, send women. Because their re'iyah, their eyesight was never nifgam, never got blemished. Because they didn't participate in the chet of ha'egel. So the way they would have looked at Eretz Yisrael would have been different. Would have been clean. Would have been refined. So now we understand Miriam and Aaron's tainus and Moshe Rabbeinu. Since you left living with a woman, you forgot the way that women look at things. And if you were still living with Tzipporah at the time of Shiluach Meraglim, you would have chosen to send out women as well. And then what would have happened? They would have come back with a good report, and you would have come with us into Eretz Yisrael. That's not the way we learned it growing up, the whole story of that if Moshe was still living with Tzipporah, Miriam and Aaron thought he would have been more sensitive, and he would have ended up choosing women to be the scouts, to be the meraglot, I guess you call it, right? Anyway, the meraglim are people that come there for whatever the reason, and they say it's too hard, it's impossible to solve. Not, it's too hard, we got to become more refined people, but a problem's in front of me, and due to its heaviness and how difficult it is, it means it's not for us. It's the mathematician that can't solve the equation, that out of his gaiva, he says, listen, it's just impossible to do. It's not that I can't do it. You can't. It's impossible. Can't be done. Look, we feel like this quite often in our life, but a million different things. Towards the end of this second to bottom paragraph, so since the meraglim knew that they were so great, they assumed that Israel is a country where you can't be high. But if they would have been real students of Moshe Rabbeinu, they would have been tuned into the midah of savlanut, which when a pakid tells you that here in Israel, you want to slice them, you want to shech them, but maybe they're like holy like this, I guess, this siman, this sign of the finger up, is like basically like the icon of Moshe Rabbeinu's pupilhood, I guess. This, which you want to usually take a slug at someone that does this to you, but there might be something to it, So the Zohar HaKodesh says that Shlach is really the way we have to go into the land. As hard as it is to be a high Yidla outside of Israel, in Israel it's murder. It's absolutely murder. What do you think he means by that? As hard as it is to be a Gevalt Yidla in Chutz La'aretz, here it's absolutely murder. Meaning the avoda we have to do on ourselves here, you can't compare it to anything in the world. What you go through here for your avodat hanefesh, really in Chutz La'aretz, what's that?
It's a holy ball game.
It's a holy ball game. Oh, holy?
I said it's a whole new.
Oh, whole new ball game. Right. I thought you meant it's a new hole here. But it's amazing that in Chutz La'aretz you actually could really feel amazing if you wake up a little bit early and you get your smoothie and you go to a beautiful carpet-based medrash and you sit in Avodah Filmi. Then you don't think about God for 13 hours, but you actually feel like you're amazing. First of all, there's no look at the floor, right?
Drive-through
Listen to this, right? There's no comfort, right? The comfort, and there's no drive-through Starbucks. It's something else. It takes something else. So I should title this a very non-PC shiur before I put it out, right? Sorry, Chevra. So at a certain point, at Parshat Shlach, you don't start making hula hoops to make everyone feel comfortable. You just gotta, you lay it on. And ma lasot. Yossi's loving this. Why is it?
The fact that these two guys are here, because I mean, they're kings of the world. They're at Shallots. They're hanging out. They're on top of the ball game. They're coming in a playground. Here out in Israel, they go to the Dead Sea and fool around a little bit. But Rav Shlomo part of Shir, But it's good that they know what. Like, he's nailing it. He's nailing it because as great as I was over there, and as much chesed and tzedakah that I'm involved in over there, but to be a connected yid here, that's murder. You have to murder the who you were, the somebody that you thought you were back there, and remake yourself and understand what it means to be part of the Am and part of a land and like the shiftless, like that's that. This is a great.
Yeah.
This is a great Torah that. I always take credit.
Yeah.
I love you guys. You're really thinking of me when you're thinking of yourself.
Why is it so hard to bring Yiddishkeit in Eretz Yisrael? Look at it. Like, look what's going on here, right? Half this country is like people that hate, religion. Think about it for a second, right? He says, why is it so hard to bring Yiddishkeit in Eretz Yisrael? He's just calling things spade to spade here. I might be able to turn on all of Brooklyn to Yiddishkeit, but it's very hard to turn on all of Tel Aviv. Why? Because this is really where it's at. If it's where it's at, the harder it is. Sometimes you go to Israel, you don't feel anything. You come to the Kotel and you're a stone. The wall's not the stone, you're the stone. So what? You got to try more. It's not supposed to just feel right. So what was the holiness of Yehoshua? How did he make it? Because he was Mamash Moshe Rabbeinu's pupil. And Moshe Rabbeinu's pupil knows that you always have to try again. So I want you to know how deep this is. The holiness of the land of Israel this is our whole connection to the land of Israel. We always try again. Can you imagine we're waiting for 2,000 years to go back? You'd think it would just work. No. The opportunity to refine ourselves in ways that we never experienced before is what's in front of us. Try again. Try again. All of Yiddishkeit. The holiness of us Yidden, our mission to the world is try again. But really, be humble and bear it. That's the mission, he says, of Yiddishkeit. You got to keep on trying from a place of anava and bear it. On an avoda level, on an avodah tachlis in our lives right now, to try to figure out, like, so what do I do with the Torah like this? So, just the fact, now it's time for us to feel bad, Tzvi. Now it's like, okay, we're here. Now the question is, how much am I acting like Chutz La'aretz while I'm in Eretz Yisrael? Where in my life am I still under that masecha? That mask. Where do I give up here? On who do I give up here? On what part of me do I give up? On what dreams of mine do I give up because they haven't worked out? And to figure out a way to befriend that voice that is very convincing and tells you, look, God doesn't want you to hate yourself, so give up. So just. It's not for you. God doesn't want you to walk around hating yourself. Finding that voice, seeking, having enough guts to go inside, mamish inside right now, and ask Hashem for help and saying, look, I'm here, I'm vulnerable, I'm willing to be vulnerable. I'm mamash willing to be vulnerable right now, Hashem. and I'm willing to go to a place I normally wouldn't want to go to find out and catch that voice that tells me, Tityaesh. It comes in a different word, it comes in a different sound, is this is not for you, or it's impossible. And to find really the root of it, and try to understand why. What's going on? What's hiding behind that voice? To make me a true Ben Eretz Yisrael. To make me a true Talmid of Moshe Rabbeinu, a Mamshich of Yehoshua. And Bezrat Hashem, that way, when we come to Parashat Shlach, Ve'aturu et Eretz Canaan this time, the way we would do a tikkun for the meraglim, which is what Reb Nachman and all the tzaddikim say, we're still busy trying to do, because when the meraglim come back, they come back and report what they report, and it was Tisha B'Av, and we're still falling into that trap every year. And Bichlal, the way that they looked at Eretz Yisrael was the same way that Chava looked at the apple. All the Gzeras Shavas, it says, Vatere Haisha ki tova etz lama'achal. She looked at it with eyes of outside eyes. At the fruit, she looked at, can I benefit anything from it or not? There's so many Torahs we can go on and on over here, but Bezrat Hashem, I want to do as much as we can this week towards the Parsha, because our holding on to Eretz Yisrael is really our life force, especially what we've been learning with Ena Banim Smicha. Just goes hand in hand with all of that. But I bless us to have enough guts to go inside our hearts and ask that question, where was the last time I gave up on something and why? And at all costs, not try to be a self-justifier. And also, don't try to be someone that's trying to kill yourself either. Just trying to be real and listen to what's going on beneath the surface. So that Bezrat Hashem, we can be here and be really high. The real high of Eretz Yisrael, which is the most humbling kind of high in the world. All right, Yisher Koach. Shkoyach. One second.